Hey everyone, I am Cory Lee, and welcome to Pull Up a Seat with Cory Lee. Joining me today are two very special guests. I'm going to be talking with Cole and Charisma. So thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. We're so happy to be here.
Yes,
so happy to talk with you. We follow your stuff as well. You're doing awesome things.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, finally, I feel like it's been so long,
Yeah.
and we finally have made this happen. So we're excited.
Yeah, I've followed you guys for like years, and we've chatted back and forth online, but I'm glad we can finally get together, and I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about the both of you. I already know a good bit just from following you guys on YouTube and your various social media channels, but we're definitely going to dive into some more stuff. But to start us out, for Cole, can you tell us what your disability is and how you joined the disability community?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 16, I went with a few of my friends to the James River, which flows through the city of Richmond where I lived. And the area of the river we went to is rapids. So the water is moving very quickly, and there are lots of rocks exposed that you can go and like sunbathe on and jump off of into the water. And it's a lot of fun. However, at one point, I was crossing the river and I dove in, and just beneath the surface of the water was a rock. And I couldn't see it because it's murky water. And I hit that rock directly on top of my head and instantly broke my C4, C5, C6, and T1 vertebrae in my neck. And my spinal cord was damaged at C5 and C6. So in that moment, I had lost all ability to do anything, really. All I could do was hold my breath because I was face down, I was conscious, I knew what was happening, or I had an idea that something went wrong.
Yeah.
But all I could do, even though in my mind I was trying to swim across the river, I couldn't move at all. Unfortunately, I had a friend who saw what was happening and saw all the blood coming out of my head, and he jumped in and towed me back to the side of the river from where I dove. So he saved my life. And he grabbed me a few feet away from rapids. So like I was a few feet away from not being here at all. So I'm very grateful to him. And then I was taken to the hospital where they saved my life again. And then that just began a process of rehab of, understanding that this is my new reality. What do we do from here? And step one was get stronger and build up muscles again. Because obviously you lose a lot of muscle when you go from 180 to 130 within a month because you're just laying there in a hospital bed. You can't do anything. So I just built up strength and then tried to get back to a new normal and my new reality.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have definitely made such a huge impact in the disability community since becoming disabled. I mean, your YouTube channel has over 600,000 subscribers. I mean, not including all the other channels. So your impact is definitely felt. So thank you for being a part of the disability community. I know I really enjoy your content. But for now, for the both of you, how did the two of you meet? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people already know this, if they follow you guys, but just as a refresher for anyone new that's watching.
Yeah.
Yes. So we met in 2017, December of 2017. And for about 2 years prior, or a year and a half, I was working at Sheltering Arms as a rehab tech. So like working under like the PTs, OTs, etc. And I so happened to come across Cole. I had a coworker basically gossiping about him and his new girlfriend at the time, and that was the first time I'd heard of Cole, and I was like, wow, he's been going to this hospital the entire time I've been working here, yet I've never seen him, and yet we've crossed paths so many times, which was wild to me. But we started chatting at the hospital. The long story. What story do I tell?
The medium story.
The medium story. Cole was on the electrical stimulation bike, and I just went over to assist his therapist, and they asked me to get him off the bike. And so I'm digging in Cole's pants, getting pads off his butt, and he was so embarrassed.
Well, yeah, I'm embarrassed because at this point, I did not have that old girlfriend. So
No.
I was back in the market, and I had noticed her walking around. I asked my therapist about her.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, who is that? They're like, oh, that's charisma. I was like, is she single? I'm like, she is. And then that was all I needed to know. So I was trying to be charming and all that, but here she comes reaching into my pants at the end of a workout where I'm all disheveled. I probably smell bad. And I'm just like, man, this is not how I wanted my first impression to go. But fortunately, she didn't. She saw past that, and that was normal for you anyway.
Yeah, it didn't feel weird. I was like, I'm just helping someone, and I was super nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta impress him. I gotta take these pads off just perfectly. Like, so much pressure.
Yeah, but I think the first time I really got her notice was when there was a gala being put on by Sheltering Arms, the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was curious if she had a date. And so at one point when she was walking by, I was like, hey, you got a date to the gala? And she was like, wait, what? What are you asking? And it was like, so we kind of had that little moment where I think she recognized that I was taking interest. And then after the gala, after we had some good conversation, I slid into the DMs.
Yeah.
And I have no shame about it because it works. Here we are today.
Yeah.
So.
We still have, meeting story like in person, but we made the moves online on social media. Yeah. It's a little easier.
Yeah, so it sounds like sliding in the DMs, it works sometimes.
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's charisma. It sounds like you were kind of familiar with the disability community, like before meeting Cole, of course. But is there anything in particular that you've learned about disability or from the disability community since meeting Cole?
Absolutely.
That's a great question.
I think, I knew a lot about, the disability community. I work with a lot of people with disabilities, but I wasn't involved within the community, so like going out and about with people who had disabilities, I didn't notice accessibility issues. I didn't see the ableism. I didn't see the social aspect of, having a disability. Mm-hmm. And so I've learned, more than anything, I've learned so much about ableism and how we can make this world, a more accessible place. Before then, like I knew a lot about postpartum brain injury. I knew a lot about various disabilities when it came to the physical aspect of it. But the social aspect was a whole different world that I didn't know about.
Yeah, so she started seeing people come up to me and so I'm so sorry for what happened to you. I'm going to pray that you're healed.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm happy, I'm good. But like she gets to see that and see my reaction. She knows me, so she knows that it bothers me.
And then this whole idea that like I'm an angel because I was with him.
That's true.
And like that bothered me so much at the beginning of a relationship. Like it still does, but I would really get upset. Like, why am I an angel? I could be so mean. Just because I'm with them doesn't make me a good person. Like, and people just have this assumption that I'm just some great person, which I didn't like.
To me, you are an angel.
Thank you. Thank you. And I like to think I'm a good person, but like being with Cole doesn't make me any better than anyone else.
Yeah. I think that's such a good point to get across. For any, interabled couple, you're not an angel just because you're with Cole, but you do seem like a really great person. I do think you're both good people. From what I've seen online, but to dive into kind of the YouTube adventure, what inspired you guys to start posting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that inspiration came from, questions I would receive from friends and family, and not like intrusive questions, but they were curious about, general accessibility, what kind of activities we found around Richmond, how we had fun. And my family really, as soon as I started dating Cole, they really wanted to know how they can make things more accessible. Like,
your family was so great.
Yeah, my dad right away was like, okay, what can we do? Where can we get a ramp? How can we do this? Because before Cole, we never really had to think about that. My grandfather was blind, and so we had certain accommodations for him, but not someone in a wheelchair. And so my family had so many questions, and I figured, what the best way to, answer these questions would be starting a YouTube channel. And then that kind of gave us something to do, because at the beginning of our relationship, we were still learning what we could do as a couple. Like we were trying to find new activities. And so starting a YouTube channel honestly forced us to try new things. And it was literally still the best decision we've ever made. I mean, look where we are now.
and I would say that timing was a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Like, especially from my perspective, because I had gone a very long time where like I was kind of like in denial about my situation, and I didn't really put myself out there and try new things because I just assumed I couldn't do them. And I got to the point like right before we started dating, I was like, screw that. I want to live a full life. I want to go do things. I want to go have fun. And so I just started saying yes to things, And Charisma came to me with this idea of like doing videos and stuff. And I was used to that because my mom documented a lot of like my rehab experience. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, I may not have been like fully gung-ho about it at the beginning, but I knew I wanted to do something exciting and adventurous with my life. And I'm so glad we had done it because, I mean, looking back through our library of videos, there are so many cool things that I did that, before our YouTube channel, I never would have imagined doing. And so having that medium to encourage us to just go do all sorts of things has been awesome.
Yeah.
And when did you start the YouTube channel?
May of 2018. So we had only been together for like 4 months. And I remember talking about this, like, okay, like we are fresh in our relationship and we're starting this YouTube channel. At that point, I knew I was going to marry Cole. I mean,
oh, wow.
Seriously, I knew like the first date, come on. But I knew I was going to marry Cole. I knew we were going to spend the rest of our lives together. But it is also tricky putting your lives and your relationship out there for people to judge, and then it just like makes you like, wait, like these thoughts start getting into your head, and it tricks you to think otherwise. And so before starting our channel, we had a conversation like, hey, if having a YouTube channel ever comes in the middle of our relationship, we need to cut it out because our relationship comes first and foremost. So we had a very serious talk at the beginning about it.
Yeah. And there are times when we've had to take a break.
Yeah.
We needed that time just for our relationship, for our mental health, because YouTube is, if we don't keep adding fuel to the fire, it just dies out.
Yes.
So we got to keep it going.
Right.
But
and within the past 3.5 years, you guys have grown so much. I mean, it's you now have around 625,000 subscribers on YouTube. Not to mention like Facebook. I feel like every time I see a video of yours on Facebook, it has over 1 million views, like every single time almost. So your growth is really incredible. So what has it been like to witness that amount of growth so quickly? And what would you say is your key or keys to success?
Oh,
great question.
Yeah.
You go first. You go first.
What was the first part of the question? Because then I thought about my second answer.
Well,
Oh, how I feel about the growth.
Yeah.
So I would say, frankly, I don't think I've wrapped my head around it.
Same.
I mean, that's like some of the numbers, like on Facebook, it's like 800,000. You mentioned YouTube, over 600,000. Like how do you wrap your head around a number like that? I don't really understand it. And to be frank, I didn't really expect it either. I think Charisma had more confidence with our channel.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm surprised every day, Well, and sometimes it doesn't really sink in, like that we post a video and it gets like 1 million views. I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and for me, I had somewhat of an expectation that we would grow, but like not this fast and not this big. I was thinking 50,000 followers, and I was like, I'd be so happy with that. And like we're way past that, and like Cole says, it's sometimes really hard to grasp that that's the case. Like you're like, wait, it's surreal. It really feels weird. I don't know how to explain it.
But I would say, as far as like keys to success, we found the most important thing to be consistency.
Yeah.
So that's in regard to posting. So actually like, creating content and posting on a consistent schedule. But also when it comes to quality too, I think Charisma and I have always put a lot of focus into, getting nice equipment, learning how to use that equipment, spending a lot of time in post-production to really clean it up and polish it so that when we put out a product, even if there's only 100 people watching it, they're going to really like that video and they're going to want to watch another one. So if you just keep putting out quality content and people keep happening upon your content and seeing the quality, then they're going to stick around.
Yeah.
So that's always been really important to us, is creating consistent and quality content.
Yeah, and consistency not only like helps the algorithm, but it helps us too, because when you don't have a schedule, like you kind of just do things whenever, and you kind of forget to stop working.
Yeah.
And so with us, like having a set schedule, I think has helped us be more successful, because we've had mental breaks. We've had, we have a free weekend. We do not do anything on the weekend. We relax. And I think people in this space forget to take a break, forget to have a consistent schedule. Yeah, it's not a 9-to-5 job, but you make yourself work like it's a 9-to-5 job. Because if you don't, you get into this hole where you just work all the time and you don't stop.
You get burnt out.
You do.
You're speaking to my soul, Charisma. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of never taking a break. So
yeah, it's hard. I mean, I read this thing that said I left my 9-to-5 job to work 24/7, and sometimes I feel like that. I'm sure you can relate, but we have to force ourselves to like stop, and it's so hard, especially when you work on social media. It's hard.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you don't treat this like a business, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It kind of, for us, started as a hobby where we were just doing it for fun. We wanted a reason to go out and adventure and film together because it was great for our relationship. But it's definitely more than that. Once we realized, this could be, an income for us. This could open up a lot of doors for us. And it's like, all right, well, let's really buckle down and figure this out. Like, what do we need to develop a strategy? Do we need to start an LLC? Yeah. All those things. And, that's what we did. And so we've always kind of looked at this as a business. And again, when it comes to the nice equipment, like investing in nice equipment, because you're going to get a return because people are going to want to watch a video that was filmed with nice equipment.
And it's fun. Yeah. It's fun when you have nice equipment to play with. It's like, I can try this new trick and this new thing. But
yeah, for sure. And for someone that's like just thinking about diving into the influencer world and YouTube and all that entails, what is one actionable tip that you would give them? I know you've mentioned consistency, investing in yourself with good equipment, but is there one other actionable tip that you can think of?
Ooh, my biggest thing would be to temper expectations and prepare yourself to have to really slog through things for a while.
Yeah. Because
this stuff, unless you're some sort of viral sensation, it does not happen overnight. Our growth, in some cases, there are little anomalies where we have a lot of growth suddenly. But for the most part, it's just been slow,
Especially now, it's really slow.
It's really slow.
Yeah.
But we just stay consistent. And this time next year, that slow growth will translate into a lot more followers.
Yeah.
So I would say, temper your expectations. Don't expect to blow up quickly. Understand that it's a lot of work and that you have to do that work for a long time and really invest into it if you want it to work. Want it to happen for you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a slow process. Because I think on our Instagram just this year finally grew. For a long time, we struggled with Instagram. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying everything. But honestly, just hop on every trend you see. If growth is what you want, you just got to be trendy because that's what works. And for a long time, I was like, I'll make a reel, whatever. I guess it's the new thing. And then, it blows up and you grow a lot from it. So
yeah, just be sure to put your own spin on the trend.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're just generic. That was good.
Put your own spin on the trend.
I like that. I like it. Yeah, you guys are exactly right, I think. And I know that you recently moved cross-country and you now live in LA. Cole, you're pursuing an acting career. That's very exciting. So just fill us in. Tell us, how is it going?
Well, so far, it's been a blast. I've always had an appreciation for the art of acting, but I feel my love growing for it every day. The more I practice scenes, in my class with my classmates, the more I find myself falling in love with it because it's a very intellectual practice, breaking down a scene, figuring out the moments and the different colors in that scene and how to, bounce back and forth off of your scene partner. So I really enjoy that. I am encouraged because my first self-tape I ever submitted, I actually got a callback for, and it was for a feature film on Netflix. And so I was like, whoa, like that was the first scene I ever did. So that gave me a lot of confidence coming into a world that is, hyper competitive.
Yeah.
Makes me feel better about our outlook.
Mm-hmm.
But I love LA just for the energy as well. Everybody out here is hustling. Everybody out here understands our industry, where at home that wasn't really the case. So like we would be talking to someone for an hour about YouTube, and then they would ask, oh, what do you do for work? I'm like, we just told you about it. We told you all about it.
Yeah.
But out here, people understand because everybody is in the industry.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. Makes us feel more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. No, it's been great out here. Like Cole said, the energy is just amazing, and like just to be around other people who grind like you, it's just like people get it. I feel like back at home sometimes people didn't always understand. Like, I'm sorry, but I have to like get this video done. I have to do this. Like I'm free in like 30 minutes. People are like, oh come on, you can push it back, and I just feel like people. It's just a different vibe, different environment out here.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And I know you two are brand ambassadors of Sunrise Medical. So that's awesome. What, Cole, is your favorite thing about your wheelchair, and why are you two fans of Sunrise?
Well, I would say my favorite feature is actually not on my power assist chair, but it's on my power chair, and it's the See Me feature. I absolutely love that because, like, when we go to somewhere like Disney World, I've gone to Disney World in my power assist chair, and it was a pain. It was hard, I mean, it can be hilly, and I'm pushing as hard as I can. I'm needing help from people all the time. Not only that, but with a giant crowd, typically people are having a hard time seeing me, so I might be like having to dodge people or say, excuse me, sorry, like don't run into me. But with the See Me feature, not only am I in my power chair and I can move around easily and I'm not worried about any of that, but I can raise up and I can see over the crowd can see me, I can figure out how I need to navigate the crowd, and then I also just feel more comfortable having conversations with whoever I'm with too, being up at eye level and still being able to move around, like not at a snail's pace, but at a walking clip. So I would say that's my favorite feature.
I love it too because we could walk side by side and I can like hold his hand and it's really nice. I like it. Sometimes it makes me nervous though because he'll do like the See Me feature and he's like in this like very like not the safest path or something, like go down, Cole, like you're too high, it's scary.
She wants me to go down. It's like I see a bump, go down, and then raise back up.
No, I love it. It's great.
And then sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the See Me is my favorite too. So I agree with everything you said. I mean, as soon as I got the See Me feature on my chair, the first day I was like going to every bar that I could, like every single table. Like I want to be up high as much as possible.
Yeah, you can actually because it's such a trend to have high top tables. And finally you can just raise up and sit at a high top table. Like that was such a struggle for so long. Like we would have to get a table and then the feet have to be a certain way so you can slide under the table, and it was just so much harder. But now you just raise up and sit at a bar.
I know. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
And then working with Sunrise Medical, I would say my favorite part has been developing relationships with everybody internally, because everybody really, really cares.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can feel that having conversations with people like Angie, Karen, I mean, you, like we care. And that's important because like I went through some pretty rough experiences, dealing with getting new chairs and dealing with issues and new parts and repairs and stuff. It gave me anxiety. It went so badly for a long time. And then finally, once we got in with Sunrise and we developed some relationships with people within Sunrise, all of a sudden, it wasn't something that induced anxiety. It was something that, became relatively easy compared to before.
Well, and they take the time to explain things. I feel like before, like there were so many features on Cole's chair that he didn't even know about because
Yeah.
no one explained how to do that or how to do
I didn't even get those features because they weren't presented as an option.
Exactly.
So now with Sunrise, I feel like I have all the information I need
Mm-hmm.
to make the best decision I can for myself. And that's so important because, you know, this is how we get around, you know, and it needs to be a perfect for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so I know that you use both a power chair and a manual chair. So why do you use both and think it's beneficial? And are there any kind of features that you like in having a manual chair?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love having both. The option is great. The power chair, I can do a lot of things with the power chair that I would never take my manual assist chair to. Like, for example, we recently went to the Hollywood sign. So, like, we got on a trail and we took my chair for miles to get really close to the Hollywood sign. And that was a ton of fun. We had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was like a dirt path. And my Q700M handled it like a champ.
Yeah.
And so that was great. I also prefer my Nitrum chair in other situations. So like being in the house, it's easier to get under tables. Traveling sometimes is much easier with this chair, especially if I want to go in Charisma's car, because like we can just transfer in.
Yeah.
And this Nitrum is a super light frame. The extenders are very light as opposed to my old power assist system where it was like
So heavy.
Yeah, very bulky. So now Charisma can just easily take my chair apart, fold my back down, which we couldn't do with my old chair,
No.
pops it in the trunk, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
So both chairs definitely have their value, and I love both of them equally. They're like my children.
Yes. Cole's power chair is covered through insurance, and then the Nitro chair is a loaner through Quickie, from Quickie, and so Cole's been loving it. He goes back and forth every day. Like starts off the day in his manual chair, and then when we go out and leave, we just switch to the power chair. Or when he walks Sophie, he'll switch to the power chair.
You know, I'm kind of surprised. I'll be honest. I did not expect myself to love my power chair as much as I do, because I love my manual chair so much. I've spent years in this chair. It's been my go-to for a long time, and so like when I'm doing work and stuff, I definitely prefer my Nitrum. But like taking Sophie for a walk, I want to get in my power chair and zoom down the sidewalk, let's get some exercise.
Yeah.
So they both just bring so much value, and the option is, I'm very blessed to have an option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely agree. And I'm glad to hear that your experience with Sunrise Medical has been so positive. But now I want to get into some like fun kind of rapid fire questions. So hopefully there's just a few of them, but hopefully they're questions that you're not asked too frequently. So a little different, but they'll be fun. So the first one, so we'll just go Charisma first and then Cole if you guys want to answer in turn. So what is your favorite travel destination that you've ever been to and why? I had to throw a travel question in here somewhere.
Of course. That's a tough one.
I think I know your answer.
I'm going to have to say Singapore.
Yeah.
I went there when I was 13, and I was young, and I remember a lot of it, but I just feel like I want to go back because I just remember it being so beautiful and so flat and so accessible, which is why I think like Cole would really enjoy it. And the food was amazing. Most people spoke English. I mean, it was just a beautiful country. I loved it.
Cory, have you been there?
I have not, but I have heard nothing but like amazing things about Singapore. So it's very high on my list, and now it's even higher.
Well, let's all go together. Let's do a group trip.
Let's go. Let's go.
To cover it. Sunrise.
Yeah.
That would be blast. I think we'd have a lot of fun.
Yeah. What about yours?
Oh, my favorite? Ooh, I really enjoyed Cancun. Cancun was a blast. Accessibility-wise, probably not the best.
Yeah.
There could be improvements for sure. But I love the views. I love the weather. I love the food. The people were so nice there. So that's top of my list.
Nice.
Both good options. And so now, if you could have dinner with any two people, living or dead, but non-family members, who would you choose to dine with and why?
I already have my answer.
Can you go first?
Yeah. Dirk Nowitzki and Mark Cuban.
Who was the first one?
Dirk Nowitzki
Okay. Yeah.
You know, basketball. He played for the Mavs for a long time. I'm a big Mavs fan.
Yeah.
And Dirk Nowitzki was like my hero as a fellow white basketball player. You know, I always looked up to him. And then Mark Cuban, on the business side of things, I've always looked up to him as well. You know, because I just think he's so smart. I think business-wise, he's made so many amazing moves. And I would just love to have a conversation and ask Dirk about all these, you know, winning 2011 championship, and then ask Mark about that feeling as well as an owner who bought a team that was terrible and turned them around. So yeah, those are my two. What about you?
Oh gosh, this is so
I've never asked you
hard.
this question myself,
I
so
know.
I'm curious.
You know, I've been asked this question. I just feel like it changes all the time. It just depends on where I am in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know one.
who?
I know two. I know both of yours.
I don't know if I know both of mine.
All right, let me guess for you.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes.
Will Smith and Zendaya.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that because they're great. And I love them. But I'm honestly going to have to say Barack and Michelle Obama.
Well,
Just because, like, them as a person, like, they are just so genuine, so kind. I've read both of their books. Well, most of Barack's. His is really long. But
Very long.
yeah. But they're just such genuine, kind people. Like, politics aside, people, they're amazing. And as a couple, just seeing their relationship is just like the relationship I aspire to have, just because they're such a strong couple who just love each other so much. I don't know, they just seem so happy, and like it would be a blast to just have dinner with them.
Yeah. Every time I'm asked this question, I always say Barack also. I mean, so I heavily agree with you. I'm a Shark Tank aficionado. I mean, I love Shark Tank, so Mark Cuban, that's a good answer too. So I'm just answers. And the last question, if a genie granted you one wish, what would yours be?
Ooh, I know.
You go first.
I would wish for global accessibility. Everything be accessible. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like my biggest. I feel like that's my biggest hurdle in life. It's because like if I can get somewhere, I can do. I figured out how to do things, but if I can't access it, then I can't use my skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say global accessibility, especially because like I want to go to Africa. You know, and I know that there are a lot of accessible places in Africa, but I know that there are places there that probably aren't accessible.
That you want to go to.
That I want to go to. And like same with like Italy or like the Philippines, like same situation. I would love to explore those areas, but I don't know how accessible they all are. I know you have an idea, so I can get some tips from you for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some of Africa is accessible. I mean, I did South Africa a few years ago and went on safari, but there are like lesser known countries in Africa that like I would love to go to, but there's just like zero accessibility. So definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I think I would just wish the world could be a more accepting place for all. I feel like I just wish there was less judgment, honestly. Like everyone could just be so loving, so kind, just genuinely good people. That's like an impossible wish, but
very wholesome wish.
It's I guess.
Love, peace, love, and
happiness. Yes.
World peace. Were you in beauty pageants?
Yeah, that's right. Miss America.
World peace. I know. No, I never was, but I feel like I would want that though. It would be here.
Yeah, that would be the dream for sure. And yeah, thank you both so much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun to get to know more about how you kind of started in the YouTube world and disability, but also just some fun questions. So yeah, I really appreciate you two taking the time to chat with me.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have more conversations about travel in the future.
Yes.
For sure. I'm ready to go to Singapore when you are, so let's go.
Yeah, tomorrow I can book a flight. You know, we can.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm in.
Well, I actually have a question. Like, tell us more about like what you do and how you got started, and because like that has always been like a passion of ours. We started our channel with the idea to travel and document it, and so we want to know like your experience and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, so I started Cory with Cory Lee in December of 2013. So a little over 8 years ago, which is like wild to say because it feels like it was yesterday, but it's been a long journey. But I started because I was like trying to find a job when it was right after I graduated college with a degree in marketing. So I was trying to find a job, getting a lot of rejections from just, businesses that really didn't want to hire me because I was in a wheelchair, honestly, and thought that I wouldn't be able to travel and do the job. So then I was also researching for a trip to Australia at the time and got online and noticed that there just wasn't a lot of accessible travel information out there on the internet. And so I wanted to just like create a resource where other wheelchair users could go to and hopefully, find out what's accessible around the world and where can they go. And so that's where the idea was born.
Awesome.
Well, I love it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it is an amazing resource for our community because most of the places I had ideas that I could never travel to. I've seen you post about them.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, well, if Cory can do it, then I should be able to do it too, right?
Yeah.
And it's really encouraging. So thank you for doing that.
No, it's been very helpful. Before we even started that channel, I remember finding your blogs and like, oh, like we can travel here, and it's just been so helpful. So I know that you are really helping so many people get back out there and travel again. And I'm sure, hopefully, if the pandemic ever ends and people start traveling again, that people are going to quickly come and find your blog and use it as a resource for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully one day we'll be over this pandemic and we can travel together, hopefully one day.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
it was nice chatting with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, thank you so much.